Hey guys, Bryan Stahl here, the teacher, the student, and the entrepreneur. You're going on a journey with me from taking my business from a $5 million business to a $10 million business, and I'm introducing you to the people that are actually helping me do it. Some of my mentors, some of my teachers. This next individual, if you're on the internet, you probably heard of him, Ryan Stewman. I personally call him the gatekeeper. He more than likely does not know how many doors I opened through the meeting, Ryan. We're going to discuss some of those things. So Ryan, I wanted to thank you for coming on, and I really wanted you to tell the audience a little bit about your story, because you more than likely, I think the only person that I know has a crazier story than you, and is debatable, is David Goggins.
I appreciate you having me on here. I try to open doors for a lot of people, and I think, at least you're conscious of the network. A lot of people, they step into our network over here and they think, oh, well, just all these people just magically found me. And you realize that it's not. I've worked really hard to build a brand and have a lot of influence. For example, we're recording this on a Wednesday. At about 8 o'clock this morning, me and a couple friends decided to throw an event in Arizona. And I'm just going to Arizona tomorrow. My friends live in California. They don't live in Arizona, right? And now, less than 18 hours later, we've got 490 something people about to show up at an event when I arrive tomorrow in Arizona, because of the power of our network, right? And a lot of people, they look at me as a sales trainer or something of that nature. And really the truth is, man, I'm a good networker. I've built a hell of a network and a hell of a trusted brand. So hadn't always been that way though. As you know, I was adopted at an early age. I dropped out of school. Matter of fact, I just left the CAN Academy here in Dallas, which is a designated dropout school. So if you have kids and you drop out of school, or if you fall behind in your grades and public school basically shits on you, these are the people that tell you that you can graduate. And so it's the Dallas CAN Academy. I align with them. They are one of the things that we give to our time and talent, and I mentor some of their kids there and stuff, because I got a heart for that. I feel like my job, Brian, is really dealing with the adult version of these kids anyway. So but leaving there, it reminded me today, it's like, I come from really freaking humble beginnings. I see these kids that aren't that at least in Dallas County, they have a second chance with this. We didn't have that in the country where I came from, especially at that time. So left school when I was 16 years old, went and got a job, and job didn't pay very much. So I supplemented my income with drug sales, and wasn't very good at that, and ended up getting in trouble for it. And I had to do a little bit of time, and basically, long story short, life's been full of ups and downs for me. And we could spend the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours with stories with Stewman, but the point is, my life has been, very trivial and harder than most, but yet the light at the end of the tunnel is, I'm here in one of the nicest buildings in Dallas, running a business that's done well into 8 figures, and running multiple businesses that are doing well, that have done well into 8 figures, and really living my best life because I got focused on some things that we call the G code that we'll talk about today.
Yeah, and the audience, I want you to understand of why I'm introducing you to Ryan. Like, you heard him mention he has an 8-figure business. I have a 7-figure business. I am the teacher in this instance, and I've been working with Ryan for now 2 years, and I don't know if Ryan remembers the story, but I think we have a crazy story of how we got connected. And I think it's important when an entrepreneur or someone talks about, someone will ask me, like, how'd you get to a 7-figure business? And sometimes I say, I just jumped. And I'll remind you the story quick, because we won't mention names because I'm cool with all these guys. I'm past any whatever ill will or anything like that. I was supposed to be part of a nationally speaking group to coach mortgage originators. And they said, till you do it, like, you and I never talked. I wrote Ryan a $25,000 check to be part of his group, because his network, and I'll get to it later, his network is worth that or more, and I'll tell you why and how. Well, all of a sudden I saw on a webinar, I'm sitting there watching it, and it was a class, and I scratched my head and I go, I'm here. I'm not on there. And you and I talked, and you're like, That's nothing to do with me. And then we had a conversation. I'm like, well, what can you do for me? How can you help me? You're like, come to my event. And we just kept going. And then you introduced me to David Goggins, Satay Magali, Nate Bailey, Alan Belcher. I had Belcher come up. And I can't tell the full story, but man, this is a grand slam out of the park. But I'm going to tell it to where I can. So I said, where's this going to lead? Like, where can I get the win out of this? It's like, this dude has all these connections. You're probably one of the hardest working guys I've ever met, with all the things you're responsible for and putting together. I was like, so I had Goggins come in, got Belcher to come in for a motivational mindset speech. I'm into it $40-some thousand right there. Back then, when I went, it was cheaper to work with Ryan. I think it was 25. So I'm into it like 65, 70 grand. I invited some people that you know, and we became friends. And next thing you know, they're like, well, maybe Bryan's got some things going on. We became friends, started discussing business. And I'm 3 weeks out from opening an office in Dallas that is going to be a 7-figure business in itself in 12 months. And that's really why I called Ryan the gatekeeper. We went in this side, and next thing you know, 2 years later, because I didn't stop opening doors through a network that, like, we'll talk about it, like, right? You got to pay to get into networks. You pay yourself to get into upper networks. So I wanted you to talk about that, because I'm the student, and I'm the student in this type of discussion. You're with some great people too. I don't know if you want to talk on that and expand, but I can tell you guys, for what he charges to get into Entourage, what is it? You broke it down to a daily.
Yeah, it's like $7 a day, basically. We make you pay the whole year up front, but it's $7 a day. It's $7 a day to be involved with, basically the Illuminati of the internet. Like, the people that I know can either make or break your career. For example, with this event that we're throwing out in Arizona. So the people that are helping me promote that all have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers. So it's pretty easy for me to say, hey, these guys don't even live in Arizona. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to burn out to Arizona. I'm going to be there on Thursday. They're like, cool, we'll go get a jet and meet you down there. Like the type of friends I have. One of my friends, Chase Hero, that's going to be there. The guy spent $650 million on Facebook ads. Wow. And like $650 million. There's a video of him on Instagram earlier this week taking out 5,000 different Amex cards from all the accounts that they run their stuff on. Dude, they're huge e-com. And, being able to get into a network like that, whereas if you got something, if you got some bullshit, I'm not going to introduce you to my boys, you know what I mean? But like, Bryan, for example, he's like, I'm going to throw this event up here and I need somebody to speak. I'm like, well, let me hook you up with David. Let me introduce you to Alan Belcher. He'll come up there and speak, so I have the ability to do that, and you don't really get that, honestly, just being honest. You don't get like that level of service inside of our Entourage program for $7 a day, right? That would be unfair. However, that in itself is a network with 1,000 people, of which 200 of them do 7 figures a year. So, I mean, you're instantly, like, even if that was $25,000, just to be in a network where there's 10 millionaires, let alone maybe a couple of hundred, that's really freaking saying something, and people don't understand the power of networks, right? Like, if your Facebook ads get cut off, if your Zillow ads get cut off, if your Redfin ads get cut off, if you run out of gas or whatever, as long as you got an internet connection, dude, you can be connected to people inside of your network. They can promote you, like if Bryan needs to do some loans, he's got a network now where he can say, hey guys, if you could mention me in a shout out somewhere, that'll drive some business back to him. Same thing. I need to make a flash sale. I got, 10 or 15 people in my network that have millions of followers that I can hit up and help me make a difference in the world. And a lot of people say, your network is your net worth. And I don't think they really understand that. They don't understand how, like what you said, all the doors that you've opened and the doors that have opened because of the doors that I've opened for you and the doors that will open because of those doors. If you know what you're doing and you keep staying down that path, man, networking is that's why social media is so big, because networking is so valuable if you know how to do it right.
I agree 100%. And I only started doing this 3 years ago. And I was one of the guys that would say, if something was 25 grand, I would say, I'm not spending that. I would be cheap with it and not see the big picture. What do you say to the guys that that don't want to spend the 3,000, the 25,000. You know, you have different programs. What do you say to them when they just give you that answer?
Nobody ever got rich by not spending money. Nobody is rich because they didn't spend money. Nobody is rich because they didn't take a risk. Like that doesn't exist. And Bryan's a good example. You know, Bryan, would you say you make more money now than you made before you started working with me?
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So in the reason why, and I'm not saying it's only because I have magic and he gave me money, but I'm saying there's a couple things that really happen. I'm just going to be 100% real with you guys. Number one is when you spend money like that, 25 grand, you go, fuck, dude, I'm going to be stupid if I don't figure out a way to get this money back. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look stupid in front of my friends, my wife, myself, whoever it is. And it puts this pressure for you to perform and go get your money back so you don't feel stupid like a waste of money. Like if you buy a watch or whatever, at least you got a watch and you look down at it and you might have spent too much money on it or whatever the case. But in this sense, you're like, I've got to take this information, and a smart person will say, I've got to take this information, this network, whatever it is that I have, and turn it into a profit. The second thing is when you bet on yourself, right? And I'm not telling you know, you go risk a couple $100. It's not really a risk. Couple $1,000, it's not really a risk. A couple $1,000 for probably some of you guys watching this is a fun night in Vegas. It's not really a risk. But when you risk $25,000 on yourself, something subconsciously goes, oh shit, man, we believe in us. All right, we believe in us. We got to make sure that we manifest the belief that we have and make it come true. And again, then you've got even more forced outside pressure. So it's been my experience that these masterminds and programs like this are almost like placebos. If you go in there and you believe that it's going to work for you, it will. If you go in there and you spend the money and you believe that it's not going to work for you, it won't. But I can tell you this, you know, in 10 years of doing this, I don't know anybody who has come through in 10 years of doing this, there is nobody who's ever come through my programs that's worse off than they are after they leave. Nobody. Whether they've invested $10 in a book or $50,000 to work with me personally, or $10,000 to go on a private jet with me, or whatever the case, nobody's left in worse shape. And the reason why is somewhere along the way, no matter what the level of risk is, the subconscious goes, wow, you know what? You just invested that kind of money. I believe in us. Let's make that a reality.
Yeah, and if I have to be honest, I'm going to say I probably used maybe 25% of what I could have gotten from you at the end of the day, and it really falls back on me. But I decided I was going to hunt with let's say a spear instead of a net in this. And you're going to see, like I truly believe the story that you and I have together, you're going to use down the road, because this isn't just $1 million. It's going to turn into multiple millions, because the individual and group that's coming on board, they have a desire to grow the West Coast to where I don't want to travel back and forth out there. And you said about you don't want to look dumb in front of your wife. My wife said when I was spending that money with Goggins, this and you, she's like, because I didn't have an answer where the win was yet. I just said, I won't stop until I find it. And that's what we did there. I want to kind of transition into, can you talk a little bit about phone sites? Because Ryan's an innovator. He has some stuff going that if you don't use it and you're in sales and you're not applying it to the internet, I just don't know what you're doing. But Ryan can speak much better about some of these the technology that he has.
Well, so it's 2019 when we're recording this, and the most valuable resource in the world, right? This is an unquestionable, undeniable, Google it. The most valuable resource in the world is data. Prior to data being the most valuable resource, the most valuable resource in the world was oil. But now you've got companies like Facebook and Google and Apple and Microsoft that are worth way more than Exxon, right? And because data is worth more than oil. Oil is something that when extracted from the ground and burned in an engine somewhere, it no longer exists. It's not a renewable energy source. However, data is. Because if you have the right data on somebody, you can sell them a Red Bull, sell them a glass of water today, a Red Bull tomorrow, maybe some AirPods in a couple of days, right? Depending on who your audience is. I think we can all agree that Jeff Bezos is the master of that. First of all, Jeff Bezos, the world's greatest salesman. Anybody who'd argue that has definitely not outsold them, so they could just shut the hell up and sit right back down wherever they came from. The second thing is he's the best salesman in the world because he's figured out how to monetize and sell to data. So Amazon collects all this information selling books, and then they go, well, what else do people buy with books? Bookmarks. What else do they buy? Book lights. Oh shit, we can sell anything. Like somewhere along the line, it went from bookmarks, book lights to, oh dude, we could sell anything like this. And they start monetizing data. Fastest company to ever hit $1 trillion market cap in the freaking history of the globe, right? Okay, how did they do that? They understand data, right? They understand how to monetize data. Here's the problem. If you don't understand how to monetize data and Amazon comes for your business, and I know what you're thinking already, like, they're not coming from my business. I'm a banker. I was at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting last year, and I watched Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and Charlie Munger, all three on stage, have a conversation about partnering up to run mortgage and insurance through Amazon. Be really fucking scared.
Yeah.
Same thing with real estate. You think, oh, well, they don't want to, they would never do that to real estate. It's coming. Don't fool yourself. If you go and you don't believe me, go to Instagram and search Boston Dynamics. And you will see the type of robots these folks are making, and you will see how they're pairing this stuff with artificial intelligence. Unreal, because data is the new resource. Anytime a resource is that rich, such as data, people are going to start mining for it and figure out better ways to do this, that, and the other, artificial intelligence, everything else. The reason why I share that with you is that's the way things are going, whether you want to admit it or not. Just because you're a 60-year-old real estate agent that's never seen nothing like this in your life does not mean that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. But don't fight it. See, when I was young, I used to watch Looney Tunes. And Bugs Bunny always said, if you can't beat them, join them. Only a fool would fight somebody that you know you can't beat. Only a fool would think they could fight Zillow. Only a fool would think they could fight Bank of America. Instead, you want to join them. So what do? You get in the data collection business. Right now, we're in a gold rush, a land grab for data. We want to have as many baits out there to collect data as possible. Data be a name, email address, phone number, address, time at residence, whatever information we can grab, the more the merrier. We need to get it as many places as possible, because here's the thing. When Amazon moves into your marketplace and they eventually shut your business down, the best exit plan to get money you have is selling Amazon your list of prospects. I want you to, I'm not trying to be doomsday scenario here. I'm saying if you don't have data, you are going to get crushed in the next 5 years. If you are not collecting data, your business is gone in 5 years. And you can go back and play this 4.5 years from now and go, damn, Stewman, he was right. But you can also go right now and start collecting data yourself. Here's the problem. Most people, they go set up with ClickFunnels or lead pages or WordPress or Wix, and they go, dude, this is complicated. I don't know how to do this. And we give up, especially, I know Bryan being a banker, the average real estate agent's 50 years old. The average banker's 40 years old, right? So there's a learning curve in technology versus we had a party here a week ago, and 2 kids that were 16 showed up. They were coding websites like on the fly during, like, instead of doing homework, they were putting e-com sites together, right? So these are the people that are going to pass you up, first of all. So you right now you go, oh, these Generation Z and these millennial people are lazy. Yeah, they're lazy, but they're also really good on the freaking computer, way better than you. And their laziness paired with those computer skills equals you out of business if you're not in trouble. So meanwhile, you got to collect all the data that you can collect. Okay, so if we know that the world's most valuable resource is actually free, basically the internet is a field. And inside that field, there's tons of oil wells. All you've got to do is walk around with a shovel for a little bit, and Phone Sites is that shovel. Okay? And so what you can do is you can go over to phonesites.com. That's phone, like, the phone sites, like a website, phonesites.com. You get a free trial. I'll give you 2 weeks. It'll take you about 10 minutes to build your funnel, your sales funnel, which is a website that collects data. It'll take you about 10 minutes from your mobile device or your desktop to create the funnel. And I'll let you run ads and advertise that funnel and generate leads for 2 weeks before we even charge you a dime, right? Because I know it works. Listen, and I know what you're thinking. It can't be that easy. In 10 minutes, I guarantee in 10 minutes, unless you sleep for 9.5 minutes of the 10 minutes you have the freaking browser open, you'll be able to build a website. Doesn't matter if you're 53 or 5 years old. It is easy. There's no coding. There's no training. There's no technical experience. I have created a way for you guys to get in on the data collection business before you're pushed out by the big dogs that are all over it right now. Don't wait. That and again, not to like come on Bryan's show and put a hardcore sales pitch on you, but I'm telling you, it is going to be apocalyptic to your business if you don't start cashing in on generating leads right this minute.
Yeah, but when I met you years ago, you said the same thing years ago, and back then I was like, it's a small local place. I network and I this. And over the last couple of years, guys, here's what I've seen. In my business, they're commoditizing all different parts of it, from the operations to the mortgage originators. They're driving down prices. It's like every business that we can think of that used to get paid a lot of money: cell phones, pharmaceutical sales,
Banking.
Banking.
You guys don't get paid the same as when I worked in the banking industry. I got paid a hell of a lot more money than you guys do.
Dodd-Frank. So I have firsthand put in my face of what's happening. They're commoditizing the jobs. The artificial intelligence is coming, doing things for us. And I actually, you and Alex Mayer were two people that kind of opened my eyes on data collection and what businesses are valued at. Like, it's funny, I have a $5 million business and I walked out of a million feeling broke because my business is only worth cash flow. It's a little different topic of when it's a membership and a subscription type business. The value of that, I walked out. I thought I was doing okay, and that's when I walked out. And I'm like, the stuff that you have going on. By the way, audience, I actually talked to Ryan before. I was like, could I get in and try and help you sell this and get paid? And I said, no. You know what? I don't want anything touched to it. I want Ryan to come to you direct. Me telling you that we use this product. I've worked with Ryan before, and to give it a shot. If you don't follow what he's saying in all different kinds of sales, I'm trying to bring in as much data as I can right now, and we're trying to monetize it off title, insurance companies, everything that we can, because I believe what you're saying, and it's already happening with the Rocket, all different types of in our business. And you believe that in any kind of sales business, right?
Okay, cool.
So yeah, the last thing I was saying before the technology hit is would you give this same advice to pretty much in all sales positions, or a lot of them in and out of the United States?
Yeah, I can tell you this, in places that are outside of the United States have the biggest advantage right now because they're developing countries. The biggest land grab to be the brand before anybody else. A lot of people don't think of that. But here in America, I'm telling you, being able to collect data is the future. My young clients and friends that are, in their early 20s and sometimes teens, these guys get it. They're traveling the world from their laptop and are master salespeople. They've just mastered the new way of doing sales, which is online. And if you don't believe that the new way of doing sales is online, just look at the difference between the money Amazon earns and the money that Walmart earns.
Yeah. And I think some of the things that we haven't even touched about, like you're a complete beast on follow-up, content, and creating that's urgency in the text and with what you write. Like, that's after you get the data, how important is that at the end of the day? And who do you get to help you with those kind of things?
Well, that's another cool thing about phone sites is the follow-up can be built in. You can email and text message someone on autopilot. So you write it once, set it, forget it, and it follows up with you. Because listen, right now the average person needs to be followed up with 20 times. And it's not because they don't like you. It's not because they don't want to buy your stuff. It's because there's a lot going on. The average American alone sees 5,000 advertisements per day. We have to make upwards of 25,000 decisions every single day. We get hundreds of emails, hundreds of DMs, hundreds of text messages every single day. So it's not that they don't want to buy your stuff, which is what the average thinking salesperson believes. What it is they're distracted. They just forgot. If you're not front of mind following up with them, you're just forgotten about these days.
Yeah. And you know what's so true? You were emailing me on the phone sites when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And tell my audience, if you wait too long, it's going to cost you more. And when something comes out in beta or beginning, that's what I talk about. Sometimes you just got to jump. So I paid a little more than your initial cost, and it's going to keep going up as you this becomes sharper and better. And am I right? The price of your phone sites are not going to stay as low as it is forever.
Well, we've already went from $19 a month to $47 a month to now it's $97 a month. When we launched it, we launched it a little less expensive because we wanted to make sure that it worked and get people to work the bugs out, and we wanted to price it accordingly until we've got it down. We're at a point now to where in the software world, we're in the mastery and optimization phase. And so, typically for something like this, you're spending a few $100s a month. So we're still underpriced and easier than everybody else. But yeah, I mean, just like any other business, from Netflix to Apple to computers to anything else, price definitely goes up as technology increases. It's basically Moore's laws of SaaS,
And my dumbass, I've been working with you for a while. My dumbass jumped in at 47, and I was like, I'll get it. I'll do it at 19. So don't wait, people. Like, that's another thing, waiting can cost you. So Ryan, I want everyone to know how to figure out how to reach out to you if they're interested in phone sites, if they're interested in your entourage. I'm telling you guys, I have no financial connection. Ryan, as the gatekeeper, is going to be an integral part of me going from 5 to 10 million. And he really, at the end of the day, he opened some doors to me and introduced some people. And I'm literally going to grow by 7 figures just by this guy right here, Ryan Stewman. So if you can tell him how to connect with you, you definitely got my backing. He probably has some of the highest level of integrity that I've ever met. We've done business deals together, and I really respect him. So if you can tell everybody how to get a hold of you and maybe give them one last piece of advice, and we'll end this call.
Yeah, the best way to connect with me is on Instagram. I'm at Hardcore Closer. That's where I spend most of my time these days if I'm on social media. And then phone sites, obviously, you should go to phonesites.com and sign up for your free trial. Like, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and give you the shit for free so that you can go ahead and get leads and have your website and everything running before you even have to pay me. So we let you try it before you buy it. So just go to phonesites.com and get signed up there. And like I said, if you listen to this and you got questions, just hit me up, say that you heard me on Bryan's podcast, and just hit me up on the DM on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, I appreciate you coming on here. I know you didn't have to, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me, the doors that you opened, and I hope you and your family have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Bryan.
All right, guys. Take it easy. Have a great one, Ryan.